Down syndrome is a genetic disorder in which a person has an extra chromosome. Chromosomes are small packages of genes in the body. They determine how a baby's body forms and functions as it grows during pregnancy and after birth. Typically, a baby is born with 46 chromosomes. Babies with Down syndrome have an extra copy of chromosome 21. A medical term for having an extra copy of a chromosome is trisomy. Therefore, Down syndrome is also referred to as trisomy 21. This extra copy changes how the baby's body and brain develop, which can cause both mental and physical challenges for the baby. Even though people with Down syndrome might act and look similar, each person has different abilities. Many of the disabilities are lifelong, and they can also shorten life expectancy. However, people with Down syndrome can live healthy and fulfilling lives. People with Down syndrome usually have an IQ in the mildly to moderately low range and are slower to speak than other children. Children and adults with Down syndrome have distinct facial features. Though not all people with Down syndrome have the same features, some of the more common features include a flattened face, especially the bridge of the nose, almond-shaped eyes that slant up, a short neck, small ears, a tongue that tends to stick out of the mouth, tiny white spots on the iris, colored part of the eye, small hands and feet, a single line across the palm of the hand, palmar crease, small pinky fingers that sometimes curve toward the thumb, poor muscle tone or loose joints, shorter in height as children and adults.
Cri-du-Chat syndrome is a rare genetic disorder caused by the deletion of genetic material on part of chromosome 5. This chromosomal change is labeled as 5p. The size of the deletion varies among affected individuals, and larger deletions tend to result in more severe intellectual disability and developmental delay than smaller deletions. It is characterized by a distinct high-pitched, cat-like cry, along with other symptoms such as distinctive facial features, delayed development, low birth weight, weak muscle tone, and intellectual disabilities. Symptoms of Cri-du-Chat syndrome: distinct high-pitched shrill cry resembling a cat's cry, distinct facial features including microcephaly, abnormally round face, wide nose, widely set eyes, low-set ears, and small jaw. Other symptoms may include low birth weight, delayed growth, feeding difficulties, weak muscle tone, curvature of the spine, heart defects, developmental delays, speech and language delays, and moderate to severe intellectual disability.
Called sickle cell disease, which is the name for a group of inherited health conditions that affect your red blood cells. Sickle cell disease is particularly common in people with an African or Caribbean family background, and people with sickle cell disease produce these unusually shaped red blood cells, and these can cause problems because they don't live as long as healthy blood cells and they can block blood vessels.
Turner syndrome is one of the most common chromosomal abnormalities, occurring in approximately 1 in 2,000 live-born female infants. In a normal individual, there are 23 pairs of chromosomes. Out of these, 23rd pair is considered the sex chromosomes. They could be either XX or XY. In a healthy male, there is one X chromosome, which comes from the mother, and one Y chromosome, which comes from the father. In a healthy female, there are 2 X chromosomes. Each comes from the mother and the father. In patients with Turner syndrome, there is complete or partial absence of one X chromosome. At birth, girls with Turner syndrome will have swollen hands and feet because of lymphedema. They also have a high tendency for congenital hip dislocation. During childhood, girls with Turner syndrome have short stature. Due to ovarian failure, they have primary of secondary amenorrhea, or absent menstruation. Beginning of pubic hair growth usually occurs at a normal age.
Hemophilia is a bleeding disorder, a problem with a person's blood that makes them bleed longer than a person without hemophilia. No one can catch hemophilia. It's an inherited condition you have from birth, for your whole life. It's just part of who you are, like the color of your hair or the shape of your nose. Here's how it works. Your blood travels through your body in tubes called arteries, veins, and capillaries. Normally, when there's a tear or hole in one of these, bleeding starts, and different parts of the blood go to work to plug the hole. Blood cells called platelets gather at the opening, and other blood parts called clotting factors help hold the platelets together to form a clot that stops the bleeding. When a person has hemophilia, he doesn't have enough of one of those clotting factors he needs to form a clot, and he keeps bleeding longer than he should.